X39 has really changed my life. I'm not stuck at home in pain and in bed. I'm out here with my friends and enjoying my family.
Big thank you to Lifeway for helping me, helping my family, and helping the 100 people now in our team who are using Lifeway daily and their families. Big thank you. Love the products.
And I have energy through the roof.
I sleep better. I have so much more energy.
Throughout the day, I can focus better. I can concentrate in my work.
Our church worship service lasts 45 minutes. For the last 2 years, I've not been able to stand that long. 2.5 weeks into wearing the X39 patch, the pastor said, "You can now be seated." It dawned on me at that moment that, my goodness, I've been standing this whole time, didn't realize it.
After starting using the technology for approximately 2 weeks, my pain completely disappeared.
32 years of pain gone in 3 days.
I just love the products. They just help me to feel younger and younger year after year.
Thank God for X39.
My skin become younger, softer, firmer.
It's been really amazing.
I love X39 because it really helped reduce the inflammation in my knee. I can now run again. Woohoo!
Well, good evening, everyone. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Hi. Hello, everyone. This is great. I love it. Thank you, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday, Testimonial Tuesday. We love this call. We love your stories. We love you. And just a little bit about our structure. I'm your host this evening, Robin Blanc-Mascari, or Robin Blanc-Mascari, whatever your preference is. It gets spelled right if it's Blanc. And I like the whole name. Thank you very much. And we start out the call with you and your stories. So we want you to raise your hand when you have stories. And remember to be brief, be compliant, and be done. What it was like before, what your limitations were, your challenges, what you felt like, what you used. We like to have the majority be X39 because we have a lot of new people and we want to keep it as simple as possible. But it's okay later on, a little later after we've had a bunch of X39 to share some other patches. And then now what you can do after utilizing this technology, what can you do that you had limitations on before? Okay, so then we bring on our doctor, and this evening we're blessed with Dr. Tom. Everybody loves Dr. Tom. We are so blessed with these amazing practitioners. And then it's your turn again in Q&A. Please wait to put your questions in the chat because we only have one vehicle. We don't have a Q&A. We just have a chat while Tom is speaking, because otherwise they may get lost. And I want to make sure your questions get answered. So I think we're clear and we're going to get started. And so I am looking for the hands that are up, and I'm going to start out with Shelley and then go to Mara Eva. And so Shelley, let's see here. We're going to pin you so you can share your story, please. Are you there? You want to unmute, hon? Let's see.
Is that better?
It's really good when I can hear you, and I can hear you. So thank you. Can we see you too, Shelley?
Well, I'm in the middle of cooking dinner, so it's a zoo over here.
Okay. So we're having dinner with Shelley, everybody.
It's chicken in the air fryer.
Okay. I'll call you later for the recipe.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, hon.
I would say that the biggest thing that I've noticed, energy levels and so forth, and some pain relief from back pain. But the most remarkable thing that I can honestly say is my husband had a stroke a year and a half ago, and he barely could get through the day. And he would come home and sit on the couch and basically go to bed at about 7. And we run a business, so it's very difficult to do that and have that condition. And I believe that the first day he had the patch on, I didn't even recognize him. He was a complete different person with energy, and he was able to focus better. And yeah, he stayed up till 11 o'clock that night.
Oh my gosh.
And I have to chase him around to put the patch on because he's on the go a lot. But I have to stop him in his tracks and say, whoa, 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 wait, I'm putting that patch on you because it helps you and you got to keep wearing this thing. That's my
Right.
story for now.
It sounds like you got your husband back.
Yeah, I do.
That's so wonderful, Shelley. Thank you for sharing. Okay.
Okay.
So then next, let me, I'm kind of soloing it here myself. So if it takes a little while, please be patient with me, okay? And so next we have John Ward. No, and then we're Mara Ava and then John.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi.
So can I tell you about a client or me?
Oh, if you're brief, you can do both.
Okay, so excuse me. So I have a client that's 86 years old and she had mild, I know we can't do diagnosis.
Oh, very good. And thank you so much for not, if you name it, you claim it, and we don't claim anything here. Okay.
Right. Okay. So she had inflammation in her heart and inflammation in her ankles.
Okay.
And which goes hand in hand. And she's been on the X39, X49 Eon for about 8 or 9 months. She's 86 years old. I brought her the cardiologist the other day. She has no fluid in her lungs. EKG, perfect. No edema, nothing. And we left and I got in the car with her and I said, woohoo, the patches. And her whole family is thrilled.
Beautiful.
So I just was almost crying. I was so teary-eyed. Like I was just so thankful for LifeWave, for you guys, and the fact that she doesn't have any more inflammation and your family couldn't be more happier, and it's a beautiful thing.
That's so wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank
you
you.
Want to hear something about yourself?
Well, I broke my arm on Father's Day and I was down to a 0 after 4.5 weeks of being in a sling, but now I'm in a lot of pain. So I'm doing X39, X49 IceWave Eon, and the pain is starting to dissipate.
Beautiful.
And
beautiful.
Yeah. So
and
it's
drink
really
your water, my
starting,
dear.
like finally, like 9 weeks out, it's finally, the bone is healing. I'm doing raw milk. I talked to Dr. Tom about raw milk and vitamin C, vitamin D, potassium, this, that. He gave me all the whole, all of that stuff. So I'm doing all of that, and it is definitely healing. And I'm down to probably a 7 at this point, and which is great because I was looking like on WebMD and you could be in pain for like 6 months, but no, I won't be in pain for 6 months.
No, you won't.
Because I have LifeWave.
Yes, and that copper peptide makes things heal faster. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm so glad
Thank you.
You and your loved ones are getting wonderful benefits. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
now
And
we
Dr.
have
Tom has been a huge support. Huge.
wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have the Happy Healthy Networker, John Ward. Would you like
Hey. And I am blessed to be right here in Bozeman, Montana. What I want to share is 2 things. Number one, I wear the hat protocol for brain trauma for prevention, and it gives me way more energy, allows me to play basketball with 19, 20, and 30-year-olds. And I wear X39, X49 religiously. But I had a super blessing when I had to go get my driver's license in Tennessee. Couldn't pass the eye test because of their equipment. Went and got an eye test. My eyesight has improved in both eyes from 2025 to, are you ready? Drum roll, 2015.
That is fabulous. I love it. Thank you.
2015 is.
Uh-oh, we lost you. You still there, John? Okay. I think he said
I'm still here.
Okay, good. So it went down to 20 what?
2015.
All right.
So my eyesight is better than 2020. And I'm 71 years old when it should be going the wrong way. It's going the right way.
I think you're 71 years young. And just so everyone knows, John and I were out down on the floor doing planks earlier. That's a good way to get. Yes, we did a whole minute, and we're going to keep doing it as long as you're here. Okay.
There we go.
Thank you. Thank you, John. That's wonderful. Okay. So why don't you lower your hand, and then I believe Heidi is next. Heidi?
Thank you, Robin. So I started wearing X39 as a 51-year-old mother of 7. I had a childhood nightmare that woke me up every night at 3 o'clock in the morning. After wearing X39 for my first night, February 22nd, I have not had any childhood nightmares. And I am so grateful that I get a full 8.5 hours of sleep. So thank you, X39.
Whoa, did everyone get how beautiful and compliant? She was brief, she was compliant, and she was done. Great going, Heidi. Yes, you've come a long way, honey. Isn't that fun? Okay, so any other hands going up? Okay, we have Carola. Would you please share your story?
Hello. I'm a Canuck, and we didn't have our patches all, and I was off from the X39 for 3 weeks. And I had a cold sore, which I usually had before already, and now with the X39 back again, I got rid of it in almost 2 weeks. But prior to that, I was healing already and hadn't had it for a long time. So I'm happy for the X39. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. And we are so, so happy for all of you Canadians, you Canucks that have been so patient and persevered, and now you get to have the patches. Do we have any other Canadians that want to share? We want to give you guys extra time. Ravel, you want to share a story? You always have a good one.
Hi, Robin. Great to see you and everyone else on this wonderful call. I just wanted to mention that given the location, what I'll say is that they definitely stimulated acupressure points. When my dog was diagnosed with something not so great, she was older already, and the vets were marveling at how she was continuing to walk 1 to 2 hours a day right up until the end. And one of the vets in upstate New York called her a miracle in the making. So they definitely stimulated her acupressure points. And then thankfully, thanks to Gertrude, I was able to stimulate my acupressure points. And there's just been so many benefits. Thank you.
That's so wonderful. And while you're saying that, we have a dog who's 15. And yesterday and got one of those serious diagnoses last September. And our neighbor's a vet, and she's a vet at the hospital where they actually invited us to put him down. And that was many, many, many months ago. And she goes, I'm surprised he's still alive. And our regular vet, who we see regularly, because
you're muted.
Oh,
Robin, I accidentally unmuted you. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm glad for that.
I was trying to admit somebody.
Okay, so I don't know where we left off, but Levi He's still with us, and his regular vet says he has defied all odds. And she says that every time she sees him. He's not expected to live longer than 15, and he's 15. So we don't, every day is precious, and we are so grateful. And someone said, does your dog wear patches? And I took off the collar and there were many patches. So yay, we're lucky to have him and have this amazing technology to keep our special furry friends with us and feeling good. Okay, so I see Anne's hand up. So Anne, would you like to go? And
sure.
Wonderful.
I'm right here. Yeah, I wanted to share that I spoke to a woman today that I hadn't talked to in a couple months. She's been on the X39 for 2 months. She had a shoulder issue. She said it's totally gone, has no more issues there. And she said the big story is her partner, because she said she's been kind of, I don't know if I believe in the patches, she said. However, she said my partner used the X39 and he cannot believe the energy he has and how good he feels. And so he had a couple of days where he forgot to use it, and he absolutely noticed a difference. And he's back on the patches, and he said, I'm telling you, these patches are amazing. Absolutely loves them.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. And I think we're going to be hearing a lot of stories like that from Canadians that have been off the patches for a while, and now they get to be on them, like we just heard a few minutes ago. So thank you so much for that, Anne. Okay, Mary Kelly, you are next.
Hello, I am fairly new to LifeWave. I've been on the X39 for about maybe 2.5 months now. I broke my foot almost 3 weeks ago. And the first day, I think my pain was probably an 8. After that, I have had no pain and have not had to use ICWave at all. And it is pretty much, I think it's pretty much healed. I actually walked on it yesterday without crutches, and it didn't feel so bad, but I'm gonna stay off it for a couple more weeks because I need to travel to Canada at the end of the month and I don't want to mess it up. So, but I'm just so excited, and I know it's the patches that is just healing it very quickly.
Well, thank you, Mary. And you said something very, very important that I hope everyone hears. Just because you're not in pain doesn't mean you should rush back into regular activity, because we know what can happen. So thank you for sharing that, and be gentle. And your shirt matches your pillow. So I wasn't sure how big your shoulders were.
Yes.
That's great. Okay, we're going to finish up with Lavelle this evening. It is your turn, my friend.
Hey, Robin, how are you?
I'm great. It's always a treat to see you.
I've been getting your text, so we're going to handle that today.
Oh, good. Thank you.
All right. So at a potluck for our teen ministry in our church on Saturday, and was sitting around with some of the parents, and just somebody said, well, so what do you do? So so I started to tell my friend Charles, this is what I do. And I asked him, do you have any pain? He said, well, my wife has pain. So he brought his wife over, and we put the patch on her shoulder.
When I walk out the door.
Put the patch on her shoulder, and I said, what I want you to do is pay attention. What I want you to do is pay attention to the reduction of your pain. I want you to really just pay attention. If it's on a scale from 1 to 10, what is it? To 10, and let's count. After we put the patch on you, we're gonna count backwards. And I said 10, 9, real slow. When I got to 6, he said, no way. my pain is gone. No way. So I walked over to the person who was hosting the potluck and started talking to him. And I put a patch on his knee, and in 10 seconds, I said, I want you to pay attention. If you teach people to pay attention, sometimes they be like, no way. And both of them got immediate pain relief. Doesn't happen for everybody, but it did happen for those 2 people. And then one of our friends came over to our house, and she had stopped ordering X39. And Michelle said, you need to wear this again. And my wife put the patch on her. She called us back. She said, oh my goodness, this stuff works. Why did I ever stop? So you just came back over just now and upgraded to gold because she wanted to get some more patches. And I gave her patches because I have patches here. And I gave her her upgrade right here. 3 people. Just tell them, hey, try it again.
Boom, boom, boom. Love it. Thank you so much, Lavelle. That was beautiful. And what Lavelle just did, I think, was really smart. Have people pay attention and count. And so when you're counting and you're hyper aware, getting on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the pain now? And then count down. That is brilliant. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to be thinking of you all even more than I do now, Lavelle. Okay, so now it's our time to introduce our special guest this evening, and he's a gem, and everyone who knows him knows that. We love this man because he just loves everybody, and he's here to make the world a better place. He comes to us as a classically trained neurologist, and he has shifted his focus into healthy living and food is poison, food is medicine, educating people. I like calling him an athlete of body, mind, and spirit. And he has made a huge contribution in our community and all over the world. And we are so blessed to have Dr. Tom with us this evening. Good evening.
It's very kind. Thank you, Robin. Hi.
I love having you. Okay.
Good to be here. Thanks so much.
Wonderful to have you. So as we get started, I'm mixing it up a little bit because we're changing the format a little bit, but I'm just going to ask you, what's your favorite thing about LifeWave?
Folks get better no matter where they are on the spectrum. And even if they thought they were okay before, they get better. And as we just heard, eyes pop open and said, wow, I didn't know I could feel like that.
Isn't that wonderful?
We're in a tight place these days, and everybody deserves an eye opener.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And what Dr. Tom just said, a lot of our practitioners say is it enhances the clinical outcome that you're able to offer to your clients and patients. So that's so beautiful. So how do people get the best possible experience using this technology? What do you say to them when they're just getting started so they can maximize the benefits of utilizing LifeWave?
Consistency, right?
And consistency.
As with any habit. And I love the stories about what happens when we forget to put them on. We suggest 90 days. So you start with X39 if you're in fairly decent health. If you don't have any reason to go very, very, very carefully, almost everybody can handle X39. We talk about 12 hours on, 12 hours off. If you forget and leave it on a little longer, and so that happens quite a bit, just make sure it's off for 12 hours before you reapply that same technology. Yeah. And for folks who have to go a little more slowly, we can take smaller bites as well. It doesn't have to be a full 12 hours. So you can start off for a couple of hours and stay very nicely hydrated. This technology helps the body speak, as we've heard in so many different ways. And a lot of times we're carrying around things that have been trying to be healed for quite a while. And we're in some pretty unprecedented times these days where conditions that were never seen 100 years ago, literally never seen, which began showing up as we started introducing processed foods, and we started introducing novel frequencies, and we started introducing novel poisons and adjuvants, and you name it. And now all of a sudden we've got some pretty terrifying skewing of those diseases of adulthood and old age, which never were diseases of old age 100 years ago. Now we're seeing them in younger people. And that's what's really terrifying. So I threw that in, Robin, I think, because we can talk about the how to wear the patches and the how to feel great. I think, one of the beautiful pieces I love about this community is we all have we're all carrying a megaphone, And you might not care that you have a megaphone, and a lot of people don't know that, but we really do become a product of the product. And whether you say anything out loud or not, people will notice. And this is a time where bright lights are looking for each other.
Beautiful.
Right.
Beautiful. Oh, I love that. I want to always be proud of my age. And you talked about consistency, and, there's, James Clear has this book called Atomic Habits, and developing a new habit isn't, always an easy thing, but he talks about habit stacking. So if you do it when you're doing something else that you always do, like I have my patches by my toothbrush. So I remember to put them on and take them off when I brush my teeth, which I know I'm going to do every day, at least twice, if not 3 or 4 times. So it's pretty exciting. And then let's just finish up with one more question about how long, when people say, well, what can I expect when I use this? If I'm being consistent, I'm hydrating, I'm wearing them 12 hours on, 12 hours off. What do you say to someone that says, what can I expect?
It's a great question, and there are a lot of pieces to it. As we mentioned, you can expect your body to start speaking again. We talk a lot about bio-individualized medicine, right? And you mentioned the Canadians. Folks who were in great shape once, if you're an athlete, that athlete's waiting to come back no matter how long you've been away, right? Yeah, and you start using the technologies. Yeah, me too. And you start using the technologies, and boom, you get a really nice quantum leap. So for some people, it's a very quick moving conveyor belt. For folks who have been struggling for a long time, and God forbid you never have known, and that's a sad thing to say too, is that some people don't know what it's like to feel great. We've actually got people who have never felt on top of the world. So can we help them? Absolutely. It's a little bit of a longer course. We suggest at least 90 days. One of my favorite colleagues says very clearly to her clients and people she's working with, if you're not going to do this for 90 days, don't worry about it. Just don't walk away. Yeah. So what people can expect is to, and this is another uncomfortable piece of personal sovereignty. People can expect to begin having a conversation with themselves and taking personal responsibility for their choices. Because I'll tell you, I went out for Chinese food with my sister and mother the other day. And about 6 hours later, my body said, "You don't do that. What are you doing? What was that?"
MSG.
Right? And, so we begin to take responsibility for our habits. And this is not just put the patch on, everything's going to be okay. We've all got bad habits, and it's time to step back into a place where, as a community, I think we can carry a message that says there is a holistic lifestyle and a lifestyle approach. We call it lifestyle medicine. And that's the beauty of this. So people can certainly expect pain relief. We've heard stories about IceWave being our most demonstrable and quickly acting. The patches, these technologies work immediately as soon as they're on the body, and they don't actually, if they're within 3 inches of the surface of the body, they're within the electromagnetic field of the body, and they're working. We don't always feel that. Many people, John's great story about IceWave working immediately, yeah, and so you can expect some pain relief early. You can expect some habit changes probably over the course of the first several months. The bonus is in the long game. I experienced athletic freshness, let's call it, and I was in pretty good shape. I was 56 when I started using these patches 2 years ago. And I didn't really expect to see very much. I saw a strengthening in my yoga practice and started sleeping better. And my hair changed color a little bit. And then my scars disappeared. And I've got tons of scars on me. I think many of you have heard my story that one of my favorite things to happen this past 6 months was having fallen directly on my chin and broken my jaw years back. The suture scar under my chin was always a place where I had to be quite careful shaving. And I noticed several months ago, wow, I'm not careful shaving anymore, and it's nice and smooth. I've also got one of those nice zipper scars down my chest from an aortic valve replacement. That's also started to fade probably after a year of X39, and it's almost gone. 2.5 years in. So all kinds of things happen. We get our younger versions back, and that doesn't mean you're going to look like the guy or gal who was 20 or 25. It just means we step back into a place as a regenerative creature where tomorrow's version gets to be better.
I love that.
Mhm.
A regenerative creature. I like being a regenerative creature, and it keeps
Did you
getting.
not know you were a regenerative creature?
I love it. And, you said something really important, that it gets better over time.
Mhm.
The benefits are cumulative. And so if you have scars on your body, take a picture. Take a picture if you're over 50 some odd, whatever. If you're experiencing any of the fine lines and wrinkles, take a picture in good light of your face. I used to be afraid of my magnifying mirror in my bathroom, and I'm not so afraid anymore. I still have fine lines and wrinkles. I'm going to be 70, so I'm fine about that. But it just does keep getting better and better and better. And the scar I have down my midsection, it's about a 9-inch scar. I could barely see it. I wish I had a picture. I really did, because it was pretty gnarly and I could barely see it anymore. So, all right, let's open things up for our audience here. And Peg, so you can put your questions in now. Is it okay to use Eon for behavior problems with a 6-year-old? Any precautions or specific placement?
No precautions. There's no downside. We have suggested placements because the clinical trials were done on acupuncture meridian points. And that's where David's research was done. And so that's what appears in the literature. That's what we're legally allowed to say and publicly. But the patches work, the technologies work anywhere on the body, and it's total body activation. And Eon is one of the better ones. In fact, I just recently heard an interview David did from a couple of years ago, which you hosted, Robin. And he was talking, it was the first year of COVID, and he was talking about how, maybe one of the most important things we can do right now, in addition to giving people obviously profound physiologic health, right? We can definitely put people back in metabolic health and physical competence. But he said, people need peace of mind. And here we are in a place where we can transform fear into faith. And Eon is marketed, when you look on the website, it looks like it's marketed for stress and anxiety, right? And it's great for mood. And I've worked with many, many young people who have experienced not just relief, but improvement in symptoms that the pediatricians have words for that sound like chronic disease. We're not allowed to mention those conditions, but almost everything that your pediatrician is medicating your child for is an interventionable condition. Yeah. And so, no, there's no downside to Eon. It works fantastically. I like to call it a security blanket. In fact, I like to use it. I mentioned complicated patients, clients earlier. For folks who can't handle the X39 right away, or you might be a little bit wary, Eon is a fantastic start point.
Beautiful.
And the Eon X39 anti-inflammatory synergy is off the charts when you look at the clinical trials, David's work with that. And thank you, Heidi, for being my Vanna White, holding up. You're doing a good job there. That's
I love it.
She's got the running show of the goodies.
Oh, does she? Okay, I'm not seeing that, but Eon, I run out of Eon more than anything. and it is what we talk about at LifeWave is what we have clinical proof for. And at the same time, each patch does way more than we talk about. And so sometimes you may not have the exact right patch you want. Just put a patch on. You'll be amazed. Incredible things happen. But Eon, the X39 Eon combo is, the top 2 patches that exist. It was the star of the show before X39 came out. Okay, we're going to move on.
Let me add one more thing in there.
Yeah, sure.
Robin, because if it's in the back of somebody's mind that says, well, this works, this is an adult dose. There's no such thing as a dose with these technologies. This is not.
Thank you.
Right. This is a technology that turns the body that it's on fully. And so it works on all sides of bipeds. And as we've heard, it works on other multi-legged animals. I heard a great story a couple of weeks ago, even a lady who had put it on the aquarium of a fish that was on its last legs and last fins, and up it came. Right.
We have amazing stories with fish and tortoises and dogs and cats and horses and guinea, just it's so wonderful. And it doesn't matter, about the size. And that's a wonderful thing, because typically in the conventional world, you apportion by size, but that's not true here. Okay, thank you for that clarification. That was wonderful. Rowena said, I spoke with a friend. She may be looking for a solution for her hand and her wrist. She developed a rare and horrible pain syndrome from a previous surgery. It's essentially an autoimmune reaction. If she has surgery again, she might be at high risk of developing it again and possibly losing her hand. What would you recommend she uses first?
Well, X39 is our cornerstone product. X39. Just a year ago, we came out with the sister product called X49. X39 upregulates GHK copper peptide, and 49 upregulates AHK copper peptide. And 49 is fantastic for bone health. So it's great for bone health, connective tissue, tissues that are already formed and have a tenacity, if you will. It's fantastic for muscle and all of our connective tissues, as we were talking about Eon so much. Eon has a beautiful anti-inflammatory for the connective tissues, the fascia and our collagen, which is the most abundant protein in our body. And all repair is dependent on our repair steroids making it, and the repair minerals and building blocks making it to the target tissue, right? So there's some inflammation there that is not being resolved. And that doesn't mean turn off the inflammation. No, that's backwards. Let me clarify IceWave too. We talk a lot about, and that would be a great idea. You can actually bridge the area with IceWave, tan patch, white patch, experiment a little bit, right? And you can put it anywhere. But as we mentioned, total body. So you can even put IceWave bottom of the feet. That's fantastic. In this case, maybe, tops of both shoulders would be great. The inflammation cycle is always proper, right? The body's always doing the right thing and singing the right symphony. And we like to turn off the song because we don't like the song. And so steroids pull that inflammatory cycle back. Anti-inflammatories, NSAIDs, Tylenol, etc. IceWave doesn't do that. Does the pain go away? Absolutely. But the reason the pain goes away is the body's actually able to complete the job. Inflammation is there. IceWave brings it back down. And it's not just for injuries or pain. Just because you're in pain, how did we say it before? Well, just because you're not in pain doesn't mean you can't benefit from IceWave. I actually wear IceWave quite regularly. It's for the purposes of that synergistic effect with Eon and improving collagen and connective tissue.
Great.
So I would do 39, 49 Eon, IceWave, play around. Carnosine's also a nice little tweak for that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Corey Lynn wants to know, what about the patches in people on immune suppressants? Are there interactions? Which patches can they use? Are there patches they shouldn't be using if they're on immune suppressant meds?
Yeah, that's something to take up with the doc, and it's an individual. my bias, and I think David would probably agree with me, is that you can't go wrong. But that's not something that we can take credit for or go on record for. That's a conversation to have with your doc. And to give people some language, if most physicians don't know what this is and don't know about frequency medicine and don't have the time to investigate. So if you ask them, hey doc, I found this beautiful technology, thousands, millions of people around the world are really having breakthroughs. Can I use it? The doc's going to say no. If you suggest, doc, take a good look at me, please. I'm doing this. I've decided I'm going to step into 3 to 6 months of this. And I would love for you to be my colleague and my partner. Please take as good a look as you can at whatever is wrong with me right now. Great blood work, great blood profile, take scans of whatever it is that, is the issue of choice, and follow me along the way, doc. Let's do a before and after, and I can be your clinical trial. We have more physicians, we have more different kinds of practitioners in our business now because they saw their patients do great, right? And they knew they didn't do it and they had never seen it before. And they said, okay, that's why I went to med school.
I love it.
Yeah.
That is great advice. When working with your practitioner, if you have something handy, something going on, it's really important. And the X39 does accelerate healing, and the doctors are in awe. The medical staff in general are just in awe. And that's when they become open or not. We're looking for those that are open. That's it. And so let's see, Adele is saying, I have a PC in France who has prostate issues with frequent urination and slow urine stream. These are his only concerns. I've heard you share a protocol, although think that one was for a more advanced condition. What would you suggest for them?
Right. Well, certainly X39 as a start point. I wish, yes, I won't mention the condition, but both Energy Enhancer and Ice Wave are 2-patch systems, and you can think of them as corners of a triangle. And I've loved hearing different people talk about this triangulation dynamic. And you can actually take either Energy Enhancer or Ice Wave, and you do them on alternate days if you want. Do Ice Wave one day, Energy Enhancer the second day. Right at the ASIS, the front bony points of the pelvis. Tan on left, white on right, and put an SP6, which is not marketed for hormones, but it's fantastic for hormones. And I saw the question about the hormones earlier, and just as an aside, these technologies make everything that we do work better. And so the person who wrote that question about the unexpected, that's very likely because the hormones she was on kicked in a little faster. And so that's an interesting dynamic. I'd not ever heard that, but the underlying question is why was she on the hormone replacement in the first place, right? And so there are underlying issues. So back to our top of the triangle, Energy Enhancer, SP6, right at the perineum, right behind the sex organs. And since we're talking about Eon, you can even put an Eon or a carnosine right at the base of the spine. And all of a sudden you've got a nice little bowl, right? Your entire pelvic bowl is invigorated, and things that go through there, like the ureters and the prostate gland that's hanging around trying to do its best, those are invigorated as well.
Wow, that was fabulous. That's a great, thank you so much for that. And I've noticed some questions in there that name diseases, so we won't be doing those. Symptoms only, everyone. So Linda wants to know, are the patches safe for pregnant women?
I was going to mention that earlier when we were talking about the size of our various biped loved ones. Yes, we can't say it because we haven't done clinical trials on it, on pregnant women, and we won't. That would be unethical. But we have plenty of anecdotal stories of, slap it on and listen to baby's heartbeat.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It's exciting, and yeah, there's never trials done on pregnant women.
Right.
So it's but it is fascinating. If a pregnant woman gets in a car accident, the baby gives her stem cells. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Okay. Dr. Henrietta. Oh, she's answering someone else. Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Henrietta. Okay, Dr. Velvet, the question is from Koya, but I don't see her name anymore, but I sent her here to find out. Help. Has anyone had an unfavorable side effect, such as lactating for a 43-year-old that's had a complete hysterectomy? She was only using X39 for 5 days, and her breast had to be completely compressed. She's on hormone replacement. So that's the one you were addressing earlier.
Yes.
Okay. So we really kind of took care of that. Corlin saying, what patches are good for hormone issues? That's kind of a really huge question. There's a lot of different kinds of hormone issues. Do you want to get more specific, Corlin, and then we'll come back to that?
Or do you want to set aside another hour? Because if I start talking about that, we're not going to stop.
Yeah, okay, we're going to skip that one. It needs to be more specific. Okay, Juanita, my friend's using the patches with great success. She wants to know what you'd recommend for her 7-year-old grandchild. Uh-oh, there's a diagnosis, and I don't know what it is, so I can't say what it is. Oh, the child's neck muscle is twisted to one side, and she's 7 years old.
Oh, yeah. Well, what we were just talking about with connective tissue is applicable there. And torticollis is not a diagnosis. It's a twisted neck.
Okay.
Your neck has been in one position. Get the kid outside, take a look at the sky and the trees, and away from the computer. Yeah. We deserve motion, and these technologies work. They do work to incentivize the bodies back into the natural behaviors in which we thrive. But in the end, they accelerate the result if we are, quote, forcing ourselves to, right? So they set the intention. But yeah, give him or her, give the little guy or gal some outdoors. Since this is a technology that's based in frequency medicine, I'll mention grounding because I like it both for myself and for my patients. And it's becoming, I think, a big piece. Frequency medicine is going to be the future, and it's not going to take long. So, David Schmidt is at the leading edge. He's been doing this for a long time, and he's helping bring not just the scientific technologies that others over the generations have perfected, that have been systematically lost or ignored. But we're coming on with a tidal wave now. And luckily, we've got an inroad, and a company like this is right at the leading edge of giving people access to listening to all of those other scientists who have been trying to talk for hundreds of years, right? And so grounding is a big deal. We get back into the frequencies of the earth. David's been able, with these technologies, to recreate the pieces of the natural frequencies of life that work to help us thrive. We can do our job by actually getting out there into Mother Nature, get as much sunlight as possible, get as much real air as possible, clean up your life as much as possible, drink very good, happy water, eat happy food, right? We can do all of this, and barefoot's an easy way, right? That sounds like a big menu, but being barefoot on your backyard in the sun is an easy way to do that for 10 or 15 minutes a day.
It's amazing. It's right there. And we sit too much with devices too much. It gets our head and neck and shoulders all messed up. Just going outside with your bare feet, getting in some sunshine, vitamin D, deep breaths, good water. Love it.
And it's free.
And it's free and it's available. Okay, we're going to finish up with Londra. A friend of mine fell today, I'm sorry, directly on her face. Her nose started bleeding immediately. She's very sore around that area. What patches can I recommend and where should she place them?
Well, yeah, sending blessings. Ice Wave for pain relief. You can span the skull in whatever way is comfortable for the child. And you can hold the technologies on the particular placement for 10 or 15 seconds and just like we heard earlier, have the patient attend to that. And, does that feel better? But I would start actually behind the ears. Temples might be a little intense, and I don't know exactly the extent of the hit. But right on the mastoids, that would be a nice thing to do. And Eon as an anti-inflammatory, you can put it on the third eye if that's tolerable. And we have a hat protocol that incorporates our carnosine patch. If you can get the carnosine patch somewhere on the skull, preferably on the crown of the head, but sometimes that's not tolerable for people. But you can even do the stacking that we were talking about earlier and put the Eon on the back of the neck just under the C7 bump. And I'd use the carnosine right on top.
Of course, X39.
Yeah, X39 in small doses, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for your stories. Thank you for your questions. Thank you, Dr. Tom, for sharing your wonderful wisdom and brilliance. And we are so grateful that you're here this evening. We want to thank all of you that are guests tonight that are checking us out. I hope you learned some wonderful things tonight, and we invite you to get back to the person that invited you and get started and have your own experience, because it can happen quickly or it can take some time. So as Dr. Tom says, give it some time, a minimum of 3 months, because how you ended up where you are didn't typically happen overnight. It may take some time, but it is working immediately, like Dr. Tom said. So we're so glad to have everyone here. We have a wonderful customer program. If you like to share, then ask about being a brand partner and the company will compensate you for sharing. We need your voices. We need you sharing with people. We're in this sharing and caring business. So I want to thank everyone for being with us this evening, and we will say good night. Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks.
Peaceful evening.
And if you want to unmute and say thank you, you can do that.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Good night.
Thanks, Dr.
Thank you,
Tom.
Robin. Thank you, Dr. Tom.
Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
That
you.
was wonderful.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Vanna's going to Orlando.